Welcome to the Panic Button, everyone. I'm Nina.
I'm not a valley girl.
And today, no one is surprised that the shooter of Charlie Kirk was living with his boyfriend, a.k.a. a trans-identified male, a.k.a. furry.
So this is someone with male anatomy
Yeah.
identifying as a woman.
Yes. Now today, it will be yesterday once this video comes out. So yesterday on X, it was trending that the shooter was a conservative. Well, that blew up in your faces now, didn't it? Yes, it did. Because like everyone already knew, there was a little suspiciousness stuff going on.
To say that this person, you said that they say that this is a conservative, right?
That's what was trending on X, and that's what all the mainstream media was saying, all that stuff. Like, oh, it was a conservative because his family was conservative, that he would be. But what do we know? We know that usually when you grow up in a very strict conservative household, most of the time the children are going to end up the exact opposite of that.
At least for a temporary time. It's like a retaliation period, like when kids get tattoos that their parents think are distasteful. It's a rebellion phase. And there are some people who will stick with that, will continue to be liberal. There are some people who will continue to go back to their family roots, but extremism is a thing. And this is why you see really religious girls can be promiscuous. But that's why women that you see were raised in a religious household move on to be promiscuous, because they feel like they're missing something on that and they move to that extreme. It's an extreme because you feel too locked in. And so it's very fair to say, like, I was raised in a very conservative household, and for a long time I was extremely liberal. And then, well, I think there's an exception to what happened to the Liberal Party, but that pushed me right back to conservative, and it made me value a lot of my upbringing, actually.
It's true.
How about you? What was your experience like?
I was raised Catholic, but
that doesn't say conservative Republican. My parents were both relatively conservative.
Yeah, I would say that my entire family was more Republican leaning. Let's watch this. Well, people on X technically broke the story, but Fox News confirmed it.
Fox News alert. FBI sources tell Fox News Digital that the man charged with assassinating Charlie Kirk was living with a transgender partner. Bureau officials confirmed that Tyler Robinson was in a romantic relationship with someone transitioning from male to female. They say that individual is fully cooperating with their investigation, claims to have had no idea of Robinson's plans, and is not currently accused of any criminal activity. Fox News alert, FBI sources.
Okay. Do you believe that the partner he was living with had no idea? Because I call baloney.
Now, you told me information that changed my opinion, so I'm going to speak as if I didn't hear that information earlier.
Gotcha.
But there is a situation in everyone's life where you don't know what your partner's up to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how cheating happens, and that is how murders happen. It happens all the time for women that have husbands and they don't even realize it. Not saying that I don't know the ins and outs of this relationship. I don't know what happened when they were around each other, but you had to have had an inclination that this very Republican man, this man from a very Republican family who hated this person so much might go take a gun to do it. If you say that conservatives are so aggressive, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that it says a lot about the shooter. It shows that not only was he gay, but he was insecure about how gay he was.
That's why he dated a guy who wants to be a lady.
Mm-hmm. Because to him, that makes at least sense.
A straight guy. That makes him straight.
Mm-hmm.
In the eyes of his family, or at least what he thinks.
And he probably hated people like Charlie Kirk because as much as he was trying to be straight, people like Charlie Kirk made it clear.
You think it was internalized homophobia?
Yeah, people like Charlie Kirk made it clear that he was not straight.
Well, yeah, but the left-wing people will say that if you are a biological man who's dating a biological man who thinks he's a woman, well, you're straight. That's what they say.
But the thing is, there's nothing straight about it.
No, I would say that if you're a man who also likes penis, that, well, you're gay.
Well, I was talking about this a little bit at work and a little bit with you, but you heard about Charlie Sheen, right?
Yeah.
Did you guys hear about Charlie
Sheen? Yes.
No. I'm not trying to be judgmental, and I really do believe in living your best life. If he didn't hurt, someone gave him HIV, right? So, with all that being said, we heard he's a little gay. I'm not saying he's full-blown homosexual. All I'm saying is he must be a little gay. Because if you took substances and those caused you to want to have sexual interactions with the same gender, then you might have been pushing it off without the substances.
Yeah.
And therefore, you're a little gay. Because if you got me full of substances, I wouldn't be wanting penis.
So he's bi. Yeah.
At least heteroflexible is a thing I've heard.
Yeah.
And I can even give that. Was curious at one point, but like...
Or just bi.
But at least, like... And that's the thing, is like someone like Charlie Sheen, we never heard about this until now because he was internally homophobic. He was scared of the repercussions of coming out as gay.
I didn't see that one coming.
I didn't either. But again, what did we see there? A little bit gay, a little bit insecure.
Yep.
And now, if someone like Charlie Sheen is at least only keeping it in his circle, like obviously he heard of people around him with all this abuse and stuff, and I'm sure he probably gave people diseases without disclosing it first.
Yeah.
But he at least kept it maintained. This is someone who went out and took care of it in his mind. In a very aggressive, forward fashion.
If you want to gain acceptance, the last thing you want to do is end the life of someone you disagree with. If anything, that's going to make a whole slew of people way less accepting of the LGBTQ people.
I don't like Nick Fuentes. I don't think he's a good dude. I just don't like him. But if you heard what he said about... Did you hear what he said about Charlie Kirk?
What did he say?
He said something along... You can play the clip if you want to find it, but I figure I'll just summarize. He said, he was my biggest enemy. He degraded the things I did, and I constantly attacked his credibility. I degraded him. I made it look like he was a shithead. But he was a noble opponent, and he didn't deserve to die for it. And I am saddened by it, and that kind of thing. If you can have people like Nick Fuentes, who is openly talking about racist, very openly racist things, then what are we doing here with the whole Charlie Kirk thing? You know what I mean? What are we doing here with these gay guys who are insecure? What are we going to do about the gay insecurity and the fact that these guys are using it to do bad things?
It's the ideology. The ideology and the people within that ideologically captured group. It's not the transsexuals. It's the trans activists. And there's a lot of them. A lot more men than there are female, but there are females. But the guys, they're horrible people. They call for the deaths of people they don't agree with. They hate women. They're misogynists. Just not good people. And when they commit acts of violence and end the lives of people just because they disagree with them, that is going to make people not just dislike you, but actually hate you with a passion. And hate everyone who identifies as trans with a passion. Now, back in the day, trans used to be not very common, but now it's very, very common. It's so common that I'd say that 90% of the people who identify as trans right now are radical, and they're not actually trans. They're fetishistic people who are not right in the head. And it's really easy to get someone like that to do something very violent. And I gotta say, the right was correct in stating that there was probably some trans ideology going on with the shooter.
Well, they also found some ideology printed on the guns and stuff like that.
Yeah, the furry stuff too. I mean,
Weird.
Come on. Now, I'm not sure if the partner knew anything. We don't know for a fact.
We'll never actually know unless there's receipts and text messages. Private home conversations, that is part of freedom of speech. You can have those conversations at home. If there's nothing recording you, if there's no conversations written.
Right.
You're saying that there's a text message saying that I don't know how true this is. I'm allegedly there was a text message saying, "Could you get my gun out of the woods?" Right?
Or something along those lines. Yes.
And so if that's the case, then I will say that then there is justification in saying this person knew.
But if the person knew, then how come they didn't turn him in? Why didn't he went to the police, or the police contacted him after the fact, but the shooter was already turned in. And then this guy was showing the FBI, the text and stuff. So
I guess,
was he protecting him? Was there something else going on? It's all speculation.
It's all speculation, but I guess, at least from my perspective, now I'm a woman, not a man pretending to be a woman, but from my perspective, if my partner, who I normally see as a grounded individual, says, man, I want to kill this celebrity, you don't take it seriously.
Right.
I'm not saying that it shouldn't be taken seriously. I'm just saying, like I don't like Shawn Mendes. Hate me if you don't want to. If you want to, I wouldn't say, man, I want to kill Shawn Mendes. However, if I did,
I wouldn't think you would.
You wouldn't think I'm actually going to go out and shoot Shawn Mendes,
right? Especially even if you had a
bad week.
rifle in a bad week, I wouldn't think that you would do that. But
because
if you
know me,
right? But if you were captured by an ideology, I would be thinking different.
But you'd be captured by the same ideology in this.
And obviously, I would know that you were going to do it.
But do you act like? And that's the thing is, most rational-minded people wouldn't do that. And most rational-minded people who think they're with a rational-minded person, I'm not saying this is a rational-minded person. I'm giving benefit of the doubt. If this is a rational-minded person, and you hear your partner just saying, "Oh man, I wish I could kill so and so," you don't actually think they're going to do it.
Right.
Like, most people don't. Even if they're a little crazy, you're still like, who's he hurt? You know what I mean? Like, who has he tried to do that with before? No one. So, and I can see it being glossed over. That doesn't mean it should continue to be glossed over. But I could see, especially from someone who's trans, I'd be like, and they'd probably be like, yeah, I want to kill Charlie Kirk too. And they're not realizing they're, like, actually saying, like, the person they're talking to is actually saying, no, I want to be the one to pull the trigger. And that's what this person's saying, versus being like, I wish he was dead too. You know, like, which is a different, like, people say that all the time.
What I have been seeing online about this partner, now, we're not 100% if it's true, but let's say it is, for example. The things I've been seeing have shown that not only is this guy ideologically captured, but there's some sort of, like, weird fetish kind of thing going on here, which is very...
Are you showing any pictures?
No.
Any screenshots?
No. Which is very common within the Trantifa movement. If you know what I mean, what Trantifa is, you know. It's Antifa, the radical activists, but they're trans. Now, they got their own really crazy stuff going on. They have hit lists. You go down the rabbit hole. You don't want to go down that rabbit hole. You don't want to go down it. Because it's really sick. It's sick and it's twisted. I wouldn't be surprised if him and his partner were affiliated with that, especially since the furry trans guy's partner committed a murder, a very public, very vile
snatching of someone else's life.
Yeah. I'm not someone who's like, yes, this is exactly true all the time. Like, I always leave room for hesitation. But with this, like, people are saying online that he's the partner is cooperating and he has nothing to do with it. And I'm more suspicious than...
Reluctant to believe?
Yeah, I'm very reluctant to believe that he knew nothing and... had nothing to do with it. If it was a female partner, I would be more apt to believe it, that she probably didn't know anything about it. But because this is a male who was also captured by the same ideology and is in the same kind of crazy group...
You're reluctant to believe it, yeah.
Very reluctant to believe that he knew nothing. But this is just my personal opinion.
What's yours? Leave it in the comments below.
And let us know. And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye. I got halfway through a person this time, if you were wondering. Sometimes you guys like to know.
And it's beautiful.
Aw, thanks. I tried.
You're welcome.